The Susan Brender Show is a radio show online broadcasted on YouTube across the United States and globally. The show features guests who speak about health, spirituality, entertainment, and a host of subjects to enlighten people across the nation. Listen to the show that empowers women and men alike and highlights those who have made a difference.
I'm Susan Brender, and this is the Susan Brender Show. I am so pleased to have Eva Korentayer, who was born 75 years ago in 1948 in Tel Aviv, Israel, raising two children and joining her husband with a major international oil and gas company, allowing Eva to live in several states and two countries outside of Israel, Holland, and New Zealand. I want to welcome to my show, Eva Korentayer.
Thank you, Susan.
Well, Eva, you have a love of photography. You take pictures everywhere you go, and you exhibit in a place called Valencia Falls in Delray Beach, Florida. And the annual photography show has won you numerous ribbons for your photography work. So I want to welcome you again and say to you, what a pleasure it is to have you on my show.
My pleasure also.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the questions because they're very important. Today, Eva, the title of our discussion is How to Deal with Cancer and Live a Rich, Full Life. Can you tell our audience when you were first diagnosed with cancer?
December 2020.
And when you were told, how did it feel?
It almost sounded like a death sentence. You hear about the C word, other older people you know, maybe in your family or friends, pass from this terrible disease. Sometimes they get better, but usually it's a death sentence. And so I was mortified because I had just gotten a pathology report after a sudden emergency hysterectomy. And the pathology report said, out of 24 cells that they examined, one was cancerous, the rest were not. And so I asked the doctor, what does it mean? He said, you may or may not get cancer in another part of the body because now you don't have a uterus and you don't have your fallopian tubes and you don't have your ovaries. So unless it moves elsewhere, let's just watch how your body is doing for the next 6 months.
And what happened?
I showed some reaction that meant that my cancer had metastasized and it had left the area of my pelvic area and it lodged in my lungs as little minute nodules. That particular cancer is called endometrial uterine cancer. So although I didn't have any areas in my area of my lower abdomen yet that had the cancer, but the cancer after a biopsy showed that what I had was uterine cancer cells that migrated to my lungs.
Wow. Well, could you tell us emotionally, how did the diagnosis affect you and your family and your loved ones?
When I got that, of course, I did a good cry, and then I told my children, and they were devastated. Each one came to visit me separately from their state where they live, in Maryland and in Minnesota. Both of them are adult kids, and they worried because they know that my husband and I love to travel, and I've always been healthy. And the mission here, I never broke a bone, even as a child, and I lived a wonderful life. And I only had, besides the hysterectomy, I had a gallbladder 20 years ago. But what happened here, not only did I have to have the area of my body where I have female organs that can get disease, it already migrated. So by the time I discovered it, I was in stage 4. What does stage 4 means? It means that the disease of extra cells has already migrated past the lining of its original area. And that's why it is a uterine cancer, but I am treated by doctors who also deal with it as it progresses through the body. And mine has lodged into my lungs.
Well, that's a terrible thing. When you told me about it, I was devastated as well. So let's get on with this. So could you tell us your form of treatment and the physical aspects of your body, say depression, nausea, physical weakness?
Thank you, Susan. I'll be happy to talk more about this. The first thing is you have to have great doctors. And it did not affect my ability to walk or drive or eat or fly on airplanes. What it affected me is the fact that I was told that I needed radiotherapy. And I did that for a month, 5 days a week. And after that, my doctor says, we'll see you in a few months. A few months later, I had the full body scan, and that's when the cells in my lungs popped up. I still didn't feel anything. Only when I started a range of administrative chemotherapy through a port near my lungs, and it is administered every third week in a chemotherapy clinic, and I got affiliated with the Sylvester Cancer Institute in Miami, attached to the University of Miami.
Wow.
Miller School of Medicine. So the biopsy showed that yes, I happen to have cancer cells, and B, I need to have a prolonged journey through chemo to either dilute the cancer, minimize it, or have it disappear entirely.
Well, that's a good thing because you are so positive and this affects you in many ways. But the fact of the matter is that you have this attitude that really makes you feel so great. So I want to get on to the next one. Could you share your diagnosis after all your treatment?
Well, I'm about 2 years since I had my surgery. And until I'm speaking to you today, I was doing really, really well. My blood work is taken when I come to the clinic, and a special cocktail is made for me based on my white and red platelets. So only after I came home for the next 2 to 4 days after my infusion, which is, I don't know, about, I guess the size of a bottle of water, do I get tired and feel really exhausted and have some other side effects like itching, and maybe loss of hunger. But after the 4th day's over, I get up and all I want to do is clean the house and go about my business. I meet my friends. I play mahjong, which is very good for anybody to keep their brain working as best as it could. Read articles, watch news shows, and attend lectures and meet friends. And I just continued my life as before because I was mobile. And I try to be positive every day. Living in Florida, when it's sunny and you have palm trees and blue skies, it's a lot different than living in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Virginia, where I've lived, and it could be gloomy. So having the kind of climate we have here is a positive. And not having any special diet, I could eat anything except spicy food. And I could travel as long as it was between infusions. I was good to go.
There you go. Well, would you say, Eva, that because of your diagnosis, you have a greater appreciation for life now?
Without a doubt, Susan, without a doubt. I have always been an appreciator of my life and my status as a mother and a wife and a grandmother and a friend and an aunt. And everywhere I go, I try to put a smile on my face and join in. Even if you don't feel like it, just get up and join in. And at the end of the day, you're rewarded with a wonderful feeling.
There you go. Well, most importantly, what advice would you give someone if they got a diagnosis for cancer such as you did? How can people get in touch with you as well, Eva, to see your photography?
Well, my photography is not published anywhere, but I plan in the next few months to make some photo albums. For instance, I love to take pictures of benches and tables and chairs. I have hundreds of them everywhere in the world. For me, a bench and a chair means somebody's taking a moment to sit down, look around, admire the scenery, maybe talk to somebody they've never met before. So I think that's my theory on life. You've got to look out instead of looking in. You have to be friendly, smile a lot, and be perceptive that there are going to be always people who have this disease. They may have less of it, and they may have more of it. Maybe they dealt with different cancers. And I have made some friends when I admitted that I am undergoing cancer. You wouldn't know it on my face and skin, but I lost all my hair after the very first infusion. So I went out and I bought some wonderful wigs, and I could still be the platinum blonde I wanted to be.
That's really something that I know a lot.
I have a page of other information I wanted to share. Is it possible?
Absolutely. Go on.
Okay. Make every day count. If you're sitting and not having anything to do, call a friend, go for a walk, visit a park, go out and buy a decadent dessert and invite someone to share it with you. Plan ahead for significant birthdays, anniversaries, and special occasions. Plan to get together, go out for dinners and lunches. And if you feel a little despondent, don't say, no, I can't, I don't feel like it. Talk to yourself and say, I have cancer, but I'm going to get up and do this because this is going to make me feel better. And be in close touch with your loved ones. Sit in the garden or terrace every day and listen to the birds, and keep flowers all around you. If you like to garden. If you have hobbies like painting or photography, go back and do them and be part of a group. Keep a diary. Find times to meditate and play cards or board games with your friends. Laugh a lot, and remember, you are wonderful.
That is
Thank you
such
so
great
much.
advice. Thank you, Eva. That is such great advice. And I hope our audience listens to you because you have that positive attitude that we talked about at the beginning. And I think it was great. So thank you again for being on my show. So here's the thing. If people want to get in touch with you, Eva, how do they do that?
I have an email, and you're more than welcome to jot it down. My email's been the same for 25 years, and it is Eva KT, EVA, K as in King and T as in Tom, EVAKT@yahoo.com.
Well, it's been a pleasure, as I said at the beginning, to have you on the show to give people the kind of advice and the kind of experience that you shared with our audience. So thank you so much, Eva.
Thank you, Susan, and thank you, Deborah, for your skills and technology and getting me on board today. Good luck to everybody out there who suffers from cancer. Make sure you have good providers and good care, but live life to the fullest. Goodbye.